All right, greetings, Youngstown. This is Superintendent Jeremy Batchelor back with another episode of Belly Left Leadership. Remember, this podcast and the Belly Left Leadership mantra is built off of a simple play. And my guest today has a background in athletics as well, but we'll get to that in a minute. Remember, we're here to make sure that we execute, we prepare, we plan, and we attack everything with a tenacious mindset to get the job done. Leadership is the paramount to change the organization. Leadership is not a title. Leadership takes place from all levels. And so that's why we have guests that are all across the spectrum on the Belly Left Leadership podcast. But remember, we want to make sure that we run it until they stop it. So today's guest is absolutely my honor to have our guest today. And so our guest today is Ms. Henrietta Williams. Ms. Williams was born and raised in Youngstown and is a product of the Youngstown City School District, I believe North High School.
North High.
All right. She received both her bachelor's and master's degrees from Youngstown State University and has worked in the district for over 40 years. I believe we're talking about close to 49 years, Ms. Williams, if I'm correct. Yep. All right. Yep. She has been a teacher, a coach, principal, and assistant principal, the whole 9 yards. She's been a leader. She's been a teacher and educator in this district for close to 50 years. And she did just inform me about a week ago that this is going to be it. That she's going to go ahead and retire, enjoy retirement, but still be around if we need her. And I know where to find her if I need her. So I got an opportunity. I've always known who Henrietta Williams was. Growing up in Youngstown, heard the name, knew she was a coach at Rand. But I got an opportunity when I was a principal at East to work alongside her for about a year. And someone that has been in administration and had some success, but you can always learn. And in the role that she was actually brought in to be an assistant principal for me, but I learned so much from her. And that's what I want to say. I encourage people, no matter what your role is, make sure you continue to be a learner. And Ms. Williams is a person that's a learner herself, but she's also a leader and was able to contribute things to my leadership journey. And I will always be grateful for that, Ms. Williams, the support that you provided us at East, and then you continued to be at East High School. So welcome, Ms. Williams.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to tell the audience about you and your family or anything of that nature?
Well, everyone who knows me know I come from a large family, brothers and sisters. It was 13 of us, but I would be shot if I didn't mention my only child, Casey, who grew up in Youngstown, Jermaine Casey Williams, and I now am a proud grandmother of Jacoby, who's 4, and a baby girl on the way in June. So,
all right. So she's added grandma to the title, and yes. We all know those grandmas are special. So absolutely. So Ms. Williams, tell us about your work in the Youngstown City Schools, kind of your leadership journey from teacher to other roles, and where you've gone to as principal, and then now currently.
When I came into the district in 75, 76, so we're talking a long time ago, as a teacher, social studies at the Rand School, and did not come in to teach. So to be honest, I was working. I had been accepted to Akron Law School. That's what I had said I was going to do, law.
Never knew that.
And Mr. Roberts, who's a attorney in Youngstown, was my social study teacher at North, who, he went into law. He's an attorney now.
Yeah.
And I just would talk to him and be inspired by him. But when I started teaching, I realized that was my calling. And I never left. So I gave up the other, and my father couldn't believe it because I always said, I'm going to be an attorney, But I love teaching. I love working with the kids, love working with the family, and I just pray all the time and ask God just to direct my path, and that's the path He directed me in. And I just hope that throughout these 48, 49 years that I've impacted people, and they know that my goals was to teach your children, to educate them, help them seek the goals that they wanted in life, may it be in college, in a vocational type area, but to do something positive with their lives. And I've been blessed because many of my students have come back and said, if it wasn't for you, Miss Williams, you encouraged me, you showed me the way, you put me on the right track, had to knock me upside the head a few times. But and I will continue to work with the district. I told Mr. Batchelor, won't be full time, but
right.
I'm going to just pop up at East High and do a few things and help out in hallways and things like that. So I'm not gone and forgotten, but I'm just going to be a Grammy. So that's my plans.
Well, let me say on behalf of the district, you'll never be forgotten. You and I've talked a lot about, your experiences
Right.
and we talked about talk to us a little bit about your coaching time, Ms. Williams, because I don't know if a lot of people remember it, but you and I've talked a lot about how those coaching times translate and make us better administrators too.
Right. Coaching, I was asked to coach my first year coming in, and it was for girls. They were going to start the girls basketball program, so that's how long I've been around.
Okay.
They didn't have a girls program yet, so I was one of the first coaches in the girls program for basketball. I was a runner. I ran track in high school, and so I was coaching track, but again, asked to help out with the basketball program and started there the time I was married. And my husband was an all-stater, all-city with Youngstown. And he said, I'll help you coach. So I had that help. And a lot of other friends who coach basketball helped me out my couple of years when I first began. But coaching, I come to understand that relationship that you build with the kids outside of the classroom. And I ran my coaching like I ran my classroom. I wanted respect at all times. You had a schedule you had to stay to. It was different, coaching, but just like in a classroom, there's things you want to accomplish, you want to teach the children, and there's a goal you set. So coaching, those things transferred over to coaching, but those relationships, I found out, transferred back to the classroom and made the classroom a lot more easier. Still, kids are going to be kids, but
absolutely
made it more easier to understand them because I took them home, got to know them, got to talk to them, and got to see another side of them. Throughout my coaching years, which was over 20 years, I got to know so many parents and the support that they gave me, because I was their coach, but also their teacher. So I have relationships now with parents and students that I will have forever because of coaching. But the impact that you as a coach make on a child, you have an opportunity to work with children and talk to them and give them goals. I mean, with the classroom, you're kind of 45 minutes, 48 minutes, but those after school activities, working with the kids, sitting down, sometimes just taking them and talking to them one-on-one.
Right.
It just grows those relationships. And I found that out as a coach, and I began to do that with my kids in the classroom because those one-on-ones, taking time out after school or even go get them during lunch and sit down and talk to them. Or that time we had study halls. But I found out that getting to know my kids, really understanding where they're coming to, it made my job as a teacher easier. It made the kids want to learn from me because now they respect me and they saw someone who cared for them.
Well, two quick stories I'll just add in. I remember the year you came to East and I was there, and I remember 2 or 3 parents would come in and I said, hey, all right, I need you to go talk to Miss Williams. Like, Henrietta Williams? I'm like, yeah, Henrietta Williams. And they were like, oh, okay. And so these were some pretty tense situations, but your ability to relate to those families, and they knew who you were. And there was an instant, as the kid says, there's some instant street cred that Miss Williams has, that parents, when they come in, they're willing to listen to her. She's able to say some things that people that maybe you and I can't say to them because of that relationship that she built and that reputation that she built of, being firm, fair, and consistent. I think that's what I would say about you. We have a standard. We're not accepting foolishness, but we're also coming from a place of love. That's what I saw in my time with you that obviously you've built over the course of 40 some years in this district. And it is something that I would encourage the rest of our administrators and myself and all of our younger teachers and folks to make sure you soak up that wisdom. I know I did during the time that I was able to spend with Miss Williams. So, and then that relationship piece that you just talked about, and being able to translate it back. I tell coaches all the time, particularly high school coaches, you're the most powerful people in the school district.
They are.
It's not the principal.
They are.
It's not the superintendent. the head basketball, football coaches, and those folks, they have something that our young people want, and that's playing time, and have established a relationship that you can create an accountability and standard that maybe nobody else can, that can help our young people be successful. So lessons learned from athletics to academics to the whole 9 yards. So what advice would you give any aspiring educators?
You have to love your job. I mean, that's number one. You have to enjoy working with children, working with families, working with diversity, because even though I was a poor child growing up in Youngstown, Ohio, I still had to relate to the children who had less than I had. I thought my family was poor, but I found out families who were, not as well off as I was, and didn't have the connections maybe to the church or to other outside sources as we did growing up. And then even the neighborhood was different. Our neighborhood took care of each other's children. When my parents worked, somebody was always watching our home to make sure we got home, we were doing what we needed to do, we got fed or whatever was needed. And we were a close community, and a lot of our children do not have that today. And that was one of the things I had. I mean, I'm thinking everybody's like me, but you find out it's not. Children, no matter what neighborhood they come from, they're not like you. And you have to take out time to get to know those children and to address those issues. And just let them know, like Mr. Batchelor said, I was all my kids. So I shout out to Mayor Tito, because he always reminds me when he see me, he said, if nobody else, if we saw Miss Williams coming down that hall, we moved, because we knew she was going to say, where do you belong, and get to class. He said, we didn't care what the principal come in with, but when they saw Miss Williams, so that's the kind of reputation, but you want kids to know you're consistent and fair. Kids are they will call you out if they say, well, you saw them, you didn't say, but you saw me. So one of the things as a teacher that I learned, and I say to all the younger teachers, be consistent. Whatever you do, be consistent, be fair. You're going to have your favorites. Even parents have their favorites, but you got to let all your children know, hey, this is the way we're going to do it. And I don't care who you are, where you come from. This is the rules. These are the expectations, may it be academically, socially, however you establish that classroom, everybody will follow that. And I would say that to your teachers, and don't be afraid to get to know your children. Talk to them. I mean, it's, get to know them, get to hear their stories, get to know a little bit about where they're coming from. Because again, I was poor and I thought everybody was the same kind of poor. And I found out there was difference, there's variance, and just like in life. So get to know your children, take that time out, go to a basketball game, go to the prom, go to a track meet. If you just show your face other than just at school, they'll connect to you, because they say, oh, she came to see me play, or she came to see me, be a water boy, whatever. They just take pride in knowing, and they come up to you and they're just so happy to see you. And that sets that tone, that begins to set that relationship with that child. And I just believe in today's society, more and more of our babies need that. They need more of those relationships with adults. And I just feel if you have a teacher, if you're going into education, you're going to have to be able to open yourself up a little bit and establish those kind of relationships with our children.
Well, let me tell you what, I hope y'all are listening, because she's dropping jewels on us this today. So now you spent some time, your last, I don't even know how many years or so, in administration, transitioning from the classroom to administration. Talk to us about your leadership journey. What does leadership mean to you, Ms. Williams?
Leadership means a lot to me. We hear the word, what's a leader? My role as a leader meant I had to be there as an example for students, parents, and teachers or other staff members. I just think it goes across all boards. If you're going to be a true leader, you have to be a person that everyone can look up to, may it be from the child all the way up to the parent and other staff members. Got to be authentic. Children can see through you. Staff can see through you.
Absolutely.
So you have to be an authentic person. I mean, I think anyone has ever said, I love my kids, they know I truly love them. But they also knew I was a disciplinary. I'm just like that at home. My Casey will tell you that. Say, I can't do that. My mama would kill me. Yes, I will. So that, you have to establish those boundaries. And when I came in, I was 22 years old, but I knew, I looked at other teachers I had. And of course, I was raised at a time you respect all adults.
Right.
It didn't matter what role they were in, but it's been a little different. Now we have to kind of earn that respect. And you can only do that if you set that tone, set those expectations. Kids want to be taught.
Absolutely.
I've heard students come up and say, Miss Williams, she ain't teaching me nothing. We don't do nothing, or he ain't teaching me anything. I want to go to college, or I want to pass my state testing. They want you to teach. They do want you to teach, but they also want you to set those expectations and see that they're carried across the boards, that you're running a tight class as well as you're running that academics for them. They want to come in a room where they can sit and learn. And learning is fun. There was sometimes, I know my kids would tell you, we did some crazy projects when I was, I had one teacher say, Miss Williams, I thought this was the art room for a minute. He said, you got more paper out and people doing arts and crafts, but you wanted them to use their skills to learn. I also had classes where my kids would teach for a week. And those of you who are out there, they had to put together, they had a team and they had to put together whatever chapter I gave them, and they had to come up with their questions, how they were going to teach it to the class, maybe it'd be with overheads or role play.
Right.
We did I wanted my kids to learn, and I knew they could be also a source of teaching. It didn't have to just be me standing up in front of the class. I did love teaching. I was blessed to be Teacher of the Year in Youngstown City, and then last year got something for being an Assistant Principal National
Award.
Award for being
work. Absolutely.
For being an administrator. And those aren't the things I worked for. Those came by total surprise. I just know what type of a teacher I would want, what type of an administrator I would want, or I would want my child to have. I looked at all of those and I tried to be that type of a teacher and that type of administrator. And hopefully, that will happen, or that has happened. So that's how I looked at it.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you, number one, for what you've done in Youngstown for 49 years, and then, for me, in the last 6 that I've been in the district, and I've had the opportunity to get to know you. Those things, your belief system, line up with my belief system, and we're about people and about children.
Right.
But what I just heard from you is high expectations.
Right.
So one of my biggest pet peeves is sympathy versus empathy. We don't want to feel sorry for our kids.
No.
Like you said, some of our kids come from some rough backgrounds. That 30, 40 years ago, we had the same situation.
Same thing.
But because of that, I want you to be empathetic and understand who I am and what I have going on. But I don't want your sympathy, because sympathy brings with low expectations, where we're not teaching at a high level. We're not demanding that discipline takes place within our buildings. I remember when I came to the East, I had a couple of parents walk up to me and say, well, why are you doing this? They haven't been doing this for the last couple of years. I know they were doing it when you were there before me, but they haven't been doing this for the last couple of years. And I said, well, listen, I want your child to have the same opportunity in education as my child.
That's right.
And that's how we're going to do things here. And I know that's how you did things. And so I'm excited about, even though we have some challenges, I'm excited about the future of education in total, but also here in the city of Youngstown. And why you're going to be retiring, tell us how you're going to still help us out here in the city of Youngstown. You referenced it a little bit, but tell us so everybody knows when you still see her around, that, I didn't just make her come back.
And before I even say that, I do need to say I've been really blessed with administrators that I supported. I was brought in by Ben McGee and Wendy Webb, and then we ended up having, Mr. Jennings and now Mr. Batchelor, who kept me coming because, they saw whatever they saw in me and wanted me to still remain a part. And Bendy and Wendy was the first to encourage me because I was not going to be an administrator. I was going to be a school counselor.
Okay.
And they were the two who said, "Oh no, you're not. You are too good, and you need to be an administrator." So, and Mr. Batchelor, I'm saying this, and I'm going to say it publicly.
Oh,
he
Lord.
loves Youngstown City Schools. If he wasn't the man he was, I would not be here. I couldn't work under someone who does not see where our kids can go positively. And he believes that. He knows there's some work that has to be done. He knows it's not going to be easy. But I say to Youngstown City Schools, stay behind this gentleman. Parents, stay behind this gentleman, because we're not going to get people like this in this district who loves our children and want to see the success that they can bring to this district. So I just have to say that. He's probably going to beat me up after we're done, but I don't care. I just think that needs to be said. And this is the type of person, leadership we need in Youngstown. And we need somebody who knows Youngstown. And he knows Youngstown. He knows us. And he loves us. And so what was the other part of that question?
So tell us how you're going to continue to be around and support. But I mean, let me before we go there, Ms. Williams, I want to say thank you again. I mean every word that I learned so much from you in just a short time. And just the fact that I saw then how you're locked in and invested, and then the support that you have provided. I appreciate that. I wasn't asking for that, but I appreciate that because I do believe that we still have work to do. And I know that we have people like Ms. Williams, even in retirement. Tell us how you're going to continue to still be involved in Youngstown City Schools.
And I did tell Mr. Batchelor, I am retiring, folks, but I even told Deborah Campbell, who's the principal at East, I may just come up once a week just to volunteer. Nothing, I'm just giving my time. I can't just go home and lay down, folks. Y'all know that.
Right.
I am going to be a Grammy. That's my goals. But I still want to be able to just come up, help out in the hallways, help out with even working with some of our newer teachers if they need a mentor, or even our new administrators. I will be available for that, and I will come in, and whatever I can offer, I'm going to give it. And so you will still see my face around. You just can't come to the building anymore and say, I want to see Miss Williams, because guess what? Miss Williams is not going to be there. She's going to be home. So, but I will be there volunteer. Like I said, I'm offering my services to Youngstown City Schools. Youngstown City Schools make me what I am today, along with my church. I have to give credit to my church. Those two entities in my life has made me the woman, the young lady that I am today. And I give thanks to God for that I've had such a great career. I've been blessed in ways I never dreamed of as a teacher. But I have a lot more to give to Youngstown City Schools, and I offer any help or anything that Mr. Batchelor feels that he could utilize me in. I will be there for Youngstown City Schools until the day God takes me home.
Wow. Well, I don't know if I was going to say, do you have any final words? But I think you might have just dropped the mic on us. But if there are any final words you want to give to the community.
Thank you, families. I thank you, parents who have supported my life, my career. I love Youngstown. It's in my blood. It will always be in my blood. But I couldn't have made it without the students who have had my parents, and of course the administration and staff that I've worked with over these last 48 years. And I thank each and every one of you.
We're going to wrap up this episode. The mantra is belly left leadership, and it is about, again, preparation, execution, understanding the assignment. And I cannot think of another person, quite honestly, who epitomizes that her career has been about preparation. It's been about executing and getting the job done. And so, Ms. Williams, I salute you. Thank you. And we will miss you, but we're going to keep running it until we stop it. And you will still be around, and we'll look for you. Bye, Youngstown.
Bye-bye.
This podcast is the property of Showfit Broadcasting and Youngstown City Schools. Showfit audio and video broadcasting students recorded and produced this episode.